Dear students, today let us discuss about the general procedure in machine design. This is the procedure that is followed in designing of any machine. At the first, here a block diagram is given. The first block is need or aim. You see, for making any machine, you see, first what is needed is somebody should have felt the need for it. Oh, somebody may say, I'm doing a lot of work for this. Manual labor is so difficult. If we have some machine, it will be good. For example, when people were washing their clothes with hand a few years back, but somebody thought, okay, this so much of manual labor can be eliminated if only we find some machine which will reduce our labor, which can wash our machine. So somebody felt the need. So this is the first step. So we have to first say, oh, we need a machine that will wash our clothes. And uh, and what we have to do, we have to make a complete statement of the problem, what all this machine should be able to do, why we are making it, what it should do, and all such things. What is the purpose of doing it? We have to make a statement. This comes the first step, that is the need or aim. The second step is synthesis of mechanisms. See, the synthesis of mechanisms. See, last year you must have studied theory of machines. You see, for doing any machine, it may be needing some certain links. Okay, certain members of a machine. Suppose if we talk about a washing machine, what are there in the washing machine? You see, there may be an electric motor, there may be a pulley, there may be another pulley, and there may be a belt, and there may be a drum, and it may be rotating, and apart from that some electronic components and other things may be there. Okay, so like that, what you have to do is you have to uh, you have to um, you have to find out what are all the components that will be needed in that machine. So you have to select the possible mechanisms and what are the desired motions that are going to come upon upon those components that are going to be part of that machine. Then the third step is analysis of forces. You see, now you have found out these are the things, these are the elements that are going to be there, these are the links that are going to be there. Okay, so, you see, it can be like, some can be reduced to a slider crank mechanism or some four-bar mechanism or some such things. You see, all the machines are some extrapolated view of these mechanisms. Okay, so if you are talking about these components, what we see is, now these elements are there. On these elements there will be some forces acting on each member. Okay, and then some energy will be transmitted. So we have to analyze what are the forces coming, what is the amount, what is the magnitude of the force coming. So accordingly, what type of stresses will be developing, so how this component can fail. You see, all these things is the third step, analysis of the forces. And the fourth step is the material selection. See, now you have found out these are the elements, so many elements should be there. Now and these are the forces that are coming, these are the stresses that are being developed in the components. So for these various components, what is the material that should be chosen, so that the forces that are transmitted will not create so much stress that they will easily fail. So you have to select material. Say, material selection will depend upon the availability of those material, the cost of that material, whether it is available for a amount of money that we are willing to spend, the so much money is there in our pocket or not, and what are the environmental conditions. So it should not be something like it will be polluting the environment or anything like that. So what is the best suitable material for each every component? You see, in the case of washing machine, you see the drum can be made of plastic. It can be made of stainless steel or some such metal. You see, which is the best suitable material. You see, you have to find out. This is the fourth step, material selection. Then the fifth step, which is the most important from the subject point of view, is the design of element. Okay, that means there in the bracket it is given size and stresses. You see, that means what? You are going to find out what should be the size of each member, how big it should be. Uh, how will you decide? By considering what are the forces acting upon the member and what are the permissible stresses. You see, if we have selected one material, that material has certain permissible stresses. Okay, if it is in tension, so it will be able to bear so much load. If it is in compression, it will be able to so much load for a given cross section. We will know. Okay, depending upon that, what we have to do is we have to determine the size of that member. And also what we should do is we have to select the shape also. I see whether it is going to be circular. If it is a circular, what should be the diameter? If it is a square, what should be the size? If it is a rectangle, what should be the breadth and length? Okay, like that. What should be the cross section and the length of the component also? You see how big that circular component should be, or how big that square rod should be. You see, we have to find out. And see, if it in case of a drum or something, what should be the internal diameter of the drum, what should be the external diameter, what should be the thickness of the drum. Okay, and all these the dimensions, these things we should find out. This is on the basis. You see, once we have found out what are the forces and then what is the material, then you'll be able to find out what are the stresses, and then you'll be able to finalize the sizes and the shapes of the components. And then once this is all done, now the design is over. Okay, that is the primary design is over. Then you have to assemble and see, and you see in next step is any modification. You see, any modifications, once finally assemble something, and then you show to your friends, show to the public, show to others, and ask their opinion, and you run it and see, you test and see, then you'll be able to come to know if any modification should be done, any changes are to be done, whether something is convenient or not convenient, whether something is consuming more energy than necessary or what, whether something is giving much mileage or less mileage. You see, what is that which are people are suggesting us to do modification, so accordingly we have to do the modification. Once that is done, then next is detailed drawing. Detailed drawing means each of the components we have to make, we have to put it on the drawing sheet, and you have to say what should be its dimensions, and also like you have done in machine drawing, say what should be the tolerances, what should be the fits, and all those things you have to put it on the drawing. See, unless you put on the drawing, the people who are working on the machines, like lathe machine or milling machine or something like that, those people who are ITI holders, who are working as workers in the company, they will not know how to produce. Okay, what should be the length, what should be breadth, what should be the thickness, what should be the fillet radius, and what should be the chamfering angle, and all those things. Okay, we have to specify. So depending upon the detailed drawing only, they will be able to produce. Okay, so that is the detailed drawing, and finally comes to the production. You see, earlier what you have done in design, only one sample of that, you may have done it, but you see, that is that is not in a large scale, whereas production will be in a large scale. Suppose you are going to produce 1,000 washing machines. Now you have to make some production line, and you should be able to produce it. So these are the various stages that are there in the general procedure of a machine design. Now let us discuss about the general considerations in machine design. You see, here Another block diagram is given. There are 12 items in this. The first one is type of load and stresses. You see, suppose we have decided uh, to design a machine, you see, and the first step is what are the various types of loads that are going to act upon the component, because of which some internal stresses will be developed. Okay, and we have to find out what type of stresses are coming, what type of loads. See, loads also, it can load can be a steady load, a fluctuated load, a repeated load, a suddenly applied load, and like that. The loads can be different loads, and stresses can be different stresses. Okay, it can be stresses can be a tensile stress, a compressive stress, a shear stress, and a bearing stress, or a localized stress, or a body stress. Like that, there can be different types of stresses, different types of loads. You have to analyze those things. Then the second is motion of parts or kinematics of the machine. See, the successful operation of any machine will be depending upon how the parts are arranged with respect to each other, and how, if two components are joined, suppose they are joined, two links are joined, or we may have joined at the ends, and how these are going to relatively move with each other. And we have to see whether they are having reciprocating motion, or rotary motion, or oscillatory motion, simple harmonic motion, or they are moving with a constant velocity, or some acceleration is there. All those things we have to consider. That is the second step. The third step we already discussed in the previous item, that is the selection of material. In the selection of material, you know what a designer should have sufficient knowledge. That's why you have studied in the in last year the mechanical engineering materials subject. In that, the knowledge of properties of materials under different working conditions, how they are going to behave, what is their strength, flexibility, whether they are conducting or insulating, and all those things. Depending upon that, you have to select the material that is needed for our components. And then fourth is shape and size of the parts. See, the shape and size of the parts will be calculating or determining on the basis of the stresses that are coming upon the components. Our mathematical calculations that we have used, where we have studied in the strength of materials. In strength of materials we have studied, and in engineering mechanics we have studied strength of materials, we have studied, and also in theory of machines what we have studied. All that knowledge we'll be using here. Some formulae there. You see, what if a bending load is coming, what will be the bending stress? If a torsional load is coming, what is the torsion equation? And all those things, those equations and other things we'll be studying, and then we'll be trying to find the sizes of the components, and fixing the shape that is going to be there. Then we may have to, in some cases we may have to see what is the frictional resistance and lubrication. Suppose there is a friction between two components, then we may have to use oil or grease or something, so that we can reduce the friction that is there. In some cases friction may be used for our advantage, and sometimes the friction is unnecessarily wasting the energy. Okay, so depending upon that, these things should be considered. And then coming to the sixth, uh, convenient and economic future. So we when we have when we are making when we are designing a machine, what we should see is whether it is convenient to operate or not, and whether it is convenient for starting, for stopping, for controlling, for handling, all those things, whether it is convenient or not, and if any part is damaged, whether a replacement can be done or not, whether something is broken or worn out, then can they be easily replaced. Then all those things we have to consider. And then the economic operation of a machine, That means, when we are making a machine, how much of money we are going to produce it in mass production. If you do, how much it will come, the cost will come in mass production, and for processing and production of the materials that we have selected, and how much it is going to cost, and all those things we have to consider. So whether it is convenient and whether it is economically viable, all those things we have to consider. And then next is use of standard parts. You see, use of standard parts, this is one of the important consideration in machine design. You see, so many things are already available in the market. If you say one nut, nut is available for a different standard sizes. If you go to a hardware shop, you can get a nut of size 10, you can get a nut of size 11, you can get a nut of size 12. You see, what are those numbers? So those are all the standard things. You see, similarly, if you're having screws, you can have screws with different pitches and different the depth of the groove. Okay, and the different types of different types of the screws also. It can be a square one, a square thread. It can be a square thread, it can be a V thread, it can be Whitworth thread, buttress thread, and all those things. Okay, so if it is something standard part, standard parts are available, you should use as liberally as you can. See, unless it is absolutely necessary, you should not produce you should not make anything from the scratch. You see, because if you make anything to according to some other dimension which is not a standard part, if that breaks or something, you see, you cannot go and buy in the market. You have to go to a fabricator and ask him to produce exactly the thing, which will be a very costly and a time consuming thing. Okay, then next is safety of operations. See, some machines can be very dangerous to operate. Okay, especially if they are rotating at a very high speed. So uh, you have to consider the safety also. Any moving parts of the machines are there. uh, and sometimes our clothes and other things, they can be trapped, and we ourselves will be pulled into the machine, and we will be will be affected. So safety operations also we have to consider when we are producing just machine. You see, something just because it is running, it is a vehicle, chalti ka naam gaadi करके उसको बनाना नहीं है. You see, all the safety precautions, safety operations also you have to consider. Otherwise, you will not get approval from the government to produce that part in mass production. See, when our automobile companies are producing motorcycles or cars and other things, they have to get government approval, so then only they can sell to the market. Otherwise, you are making machines which will kill. Okay, killing machines you are producing. See, government won't give permission for it. Okay, then next is the workshop facilities. You see, a designer must have this also in his mind, whether in the workshops available in our premises or in our vicinity, our those workshops can produce or not. So suppose you produce some you select some very hard material which cannot be produced in our workshop, then you have to go out. If you are going out from our workshop to other workshops outside, you have to shell out money. Okay, that is not advisable. You see, within the premises you can produce, that will be the best. You see, all these expenses will be accruing to the cost of the machine. You see, the workshop facilities, whether our workshop in our workshop will be able to do it or not, the designer should have this in mind. And whether our workers can produce to such kind of specifications or not, that's also we have to consider. Then the number of machines to be manufactured, how many should be manufactured. Okay, depending upon that also a design can change. Then what is the cost of construction, how much totally cost is coming, and how to assemble them. This is the 12th thing. The parts should be designed in such a way that assembling will be easy, dismantling will be easy, any person can assemble it. Otherwise, if it is very difficult, only a specialist can assemble it, will be difficult. Okay, so that is about the general considerations.